Thank you for joining us today on 344 Live, where we support sellers and job seekers. Please take a moment to support the job search of Karen Rojas. She's a training and development specialist looking to transition into an organization needing actionable training programs. Okay, and with that, I have Nora DiNuzzo live with me on the 344 Live at 3:44 p.m. Pacific time, March 21st. And if you were here yesterday, you may have noticed that we have featured Karen Rojas 2 days in a row, because
Yeah,
that
Karen.
is how awesome she is in my network. And by golly, we gotta get her hired someplace, right? I mean, come on, let's
She's awesome.
let's make that happen. Absolutely. All right.
Love Karen.
So with that, everybody who is here, I want to let you know that Nora and I have been having a great conversation about all kinds of stuff, niche-y, gritty, detailed, weedy stuff about marketing already, right? We're already warmed up and ready to go. And man, okay, people, everybody in the chat, I'm gonna lay the chat over the canvas because you guys are active. You're there. I can see you. So keep commenting, please. We've got David Ketchum.
Tabitha.
We've got Tabitha, who I don't know yet. That's great.
What? You have to know Tabitha.
I don't know. Yuval here. All right, got Nathan Hill. Man, I mean, look at this house. We're good. All right, so people got to keep commenting so that the comments show up on the canvas. That's how this thing works, right? You got it. When I turn it on, it takes a minute to
give us some love. Give us some love and
new ones show up. We don't want to be looking at this blank black space. All right. We don't want that. We don't want that. We got so Yuval, come on, Nathan, get on the comments, please. All right, we're gonna.
Oh, Sean, what's up? Hey, Sean.
Look at this, and Sean Epps. We got all these names here. We got people coming out today. All right. Okay, we got work to do, Nora. We got work to do.
All right. People came for me.
I get so excited. I can't slow me down. Woo. Okay, here we go. All right. So I have several questions that we kind of go through to keep us on track, keep us on pace. So let's get going. I want to hear all about your marketing business, right? And how you describe it. And so let's start with all right, who's your ideal customer and what's the pain that they suffer from?
Great question. My ideal customer is a small business that is founder led, under 25 million in annual revenue. And their pain point is that they are not growing anymore or at the rate they want to be growing, and they don't know why.
Okay. So they're sitting there and they're like, hey, guess what? We've been in business for a while. We got revenue. We're cool. We're hip. We got something cooking here. And then all of a sudden, like you said, I was like, why aren't we? What happened? Why are the wheels not spinning the way they're supposed to do in good old business? We want things to keep trucking. All right. So we're going to get to what you do for them in a minute, but so one of the things in your story that I hear a lot about is your 15 years in the ad business, right? So
in the ad world, it's 3 years per year. So actually I have 45 years of experience.
Okay,
we smash in 3 whole years per year because we move that fast. So yes, if you meet anyone in advertising, they are usually quite tired.
Okay.
It's also because we work 16 hours a day.
That's right.
My husband, when we decided to have kids, was like, you have to stop working 16 hours a day. I was like, all right, fair.
Yeah, you were going to start your own business. That'll solve our problems.
Funny enough, it doesn't.
I hear you. All right, hear you loud and clear. All right, so you've been in the ad business for 45 years, going on 100, and so you've been doing that for a while, and then your husband said, you're working too much, and you're like, yeah, I know, and we got a family, and okay. Now, was that the moment of truth when you decided to get this thing off the ground? I mean, so how'd that roll out?
No, so let's see. Why I did this coincided with the pandemic, actually.
Okay.
So when D-Day happened, when it was state of emergency, everyone stayed home. We all remember that day, right? That day was my son Leo's first birthday, March 13th, 2020. Because he was born 2019. So had to cancel his first birthday party. My daughter was 4. They're both born in March. So they just turned 7 and 4 but at the time they were 4 and 1.
Okay.
So all of a sudden I went from working like a VP level ad agency job to being stuck in my house with my kids with no childcare for 6 months.
Yeah. Like everybody else, right? You're just like,
yes. We were just like, okay, this is what's going now. And my husband worked for the same ad agency actually. So, which has now been sold, or it was acquired. So it's no longer, it's now Barkley or part of Barkley. But at the time it was Smith Brothers, or then became Smith's agency. He was a like director of the studio, so content director, create on the creative side. I'm more of like a business strategist, business developer. So it's head of business development. So my whole purview was make the company money, help the company grow, bring in anywhere from, you know, thinner years, 1 or 2 million, to better years, 4 or 5 million a year. So that was the goal, was to grow them and to help them get new clients. So, but during the pandemic, you know, the more I grew the agency, the bigger and bigger it got, the bigger the type of account that we went after. Because it is, as you probably know, just as much effort to pitch a small piece of business as it is to pitch a bigger piece of business, and all things being equal, wouldn't you want the bigger piece of business? So like, that's how it works in the ad world. If you can pitch $1 million account, you're not going to bother with the $100,000 account, essentially. And most agencies have a minimum, like an annual minimum, to even get bother. So I was pitching bigger and bigger things, but what I really wanted to do was work on small business, because I have a lot of heart for small business. And during the pandemic, I saw a bunch of small businesses in my backyard in Pittsburgh closing. So Brambler Boutique and Hatch Art Studio, these were places my kids went to. And I loved, and women-owned businesses, mom-owned businesses. And meanwhile, I'm pitching things like Procter and Gamble and Papa John's. And I was like, what am I doing with my life? And I call it my Bernie Sanders moment, where I was just like, and I'm out, goodbye. I quit my job. I had one client. I started one client. I was just like, I'm going to help small business grow. That's it. That's what I want to do. Bye.
Okay. I'm just thinking of Bernie's. I'm just thinking of Sanders now on the in front
like
of
the chair,
in the chair with the gloves. That guy. Okay. Sorry. I just got off my own world for a second. All right. Back to small business. Bernie Sanders moment. Okay. So you got this inspiration, pandemic, little kids, you're at home, burnout, P&G, and Papa John's, and Kentucky Fried Chicken, and whatever else, right? I mean,
whatever.
You got just big corporate. Okay, we don't. Okay, done with that action. Okay, moving on. All right, so now we're back to like what you actually deliver and do, because we got 9 minutes left, and we're going to hit it hard. So. I'm a $21 million business. I ramped to 21, but now I'm stuck there. I've been there for a couple of years, and I'm like, I want a new car, or I want to hire a bunch of more people, or I want to go live on the beach, or whatever it is I want to do, right? Or I've got a mission that I need to solve this problem. So I call Nora, call Pitcher, like, hey, come on, get in here. You're hired. What do you do? Like, what's the process? You talked about brand strategy. I want to hear what that means.
Well, the first thing you have to do is what I would call a growth diagnostic. So if you know you're not growing and you don't know why, then I, as an outsider, you know, this whole, like, it's hard to see the forest through the trees, or like, as my daughter Olivia says, it's very hard to therapist yourself. So because it's very hard to therapist yourself.
That's really good. I love that.
It was when I was in physical therapy, and she was like, I was trying to explain it to her, and she was 3 at the time. And I'm explaining, she's repeating it back like a kid does. And she's like, oh, it's very hard to therapist yourself. I was like, yes, it is. Boom. So anyway, I come in and therapist them and figure out like why you're not growing. And so then there's sort of like a path forward that emerges, right? Where it's like, okay, you know, this is what you've been doing. This is what you should stop doing. This is what you should do instead, you know, and really just kind of lay that out for them. And so I call it like a souped up SWOT analysis. And what I'm doing in that process is talking to the founder or co-founders. I'm talking to their clients. I'm talking to their team members, like really just getting a 360 perspective of like, what is going on here? Like, you're dope. You're good at what you do. You're a great designer. You're a great production company. Like, why are you not growing? Like, what's happening in this process of, you know, whether it's your strategies or whether it's sometimes it's a confidence issue. Like when you go to pitch yourself, like behind closed doors, behind, you know, the walls, you're very confident about what you do and how you do it. And then you get out there to pitch yourself and you're unconfident all of a sudden. You know, you're a little bit like, you know, shy. Right.
Sure.
You know, or you actually have like a pretty good story to tell or a pretty good brand positioning already, but you're just not telling it consistently enough. Like there's an inconsistency. So like we talk about in advertising, reach and frequency. So reach times frequency is the amount of exposure that you have to a brand. So most people need to be exposed in terms of frequency 7 to 10 times to a message before they'll ever buy or before they'll ever take the next step. So it's like, the shoes, the retargeting, the shoes that follow you around. Like you look at the shoes, you're like, no, I can't afford the shoes right now. And then they follow you around to death until you buy them. Well, that's retargeting. And that's like, those are those touch points where it's like multiple exposure. So the problem is most people, a lot of business owners are very humble and they don't want to be their own hype man or woman. And they don't want to talk about how dope they are. Right. And so what happens then is that they're very inconsistently talking about themselves here, maybe go a week, go a month, could be multiple months because their head's down. They're working on their client stuff. And if you don't hype yourself up, people forget that you exist. They think you go out of business. They think you're not doing the thing anymore. And my clients are always like, but everyone already knows what I do. I'm telling you, no, they do not. They do not know what you do. They forgot or they don't care. So you have to tell them.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, I totally hear you. All right, so can you give me a quick example of one of your clients that you helped, and then kind of what happened, like when after you went through they went through your process?
Yes. Okay. So shout out James Van Crete from Bootjack Design.
Okay.
James is a solopreneur designer with, I'd say, he had a first career as a sommelier. So that was very interesting. So I think he's going on like 10, 15 years as a designer specifically. But anyway, James had a bit of a confidence issue, I would say. Like he knew he was really good, but he doesn't like to talk about how good he is. He's extremely humble.
Okay.
So James needs a hype woman, enter me. Okay. So what I did was like looked at his current positioning and realized that actually there was like more of a story there. Like he had pared everything down to be like pretty, like design went through this period where everything got really sort of clean looking, just really simplistic, minimalist. So all his competitors look really minimalistic. So he made himself look really minimalist as well, but it lost all the character and all the story. And so did the brand archetypes exercise for James, which is like a whole other chat we could get into. But basically James is a combination of the creator artist, the explorer, and there's like a sub of the explorer called the seeker, and then the other one that he is the sage.
Okay.
So when a creator, explorer, sage like gets together, like put all those things together, all those dimensions of you, what does that look like? And so the new positioning for James and Bootjack is create wonder. So he's all about creating wonder for his clients through design, and they're usually in the hospitality industry, so hotels or hotel restaurant combos. So now, and Bootjack actually is the name of a trail on Mount Tamalpais in Marin County, which is where he grew up. So that's what it's named after. So now we're going back to this theme of like wonder and wander and exploration, which is based on his archetypes. So anyway, now it's working really well for him, and he just got some new business out of our new positioning. So
well, hey, congratulations, bam. So hire Nora, hire picture growth, right? And get your brand strategy figured out, right? Come up with where you're missing, get that confidence back up, embrace all of these parts of who you are. Wander and wonder and Bootjack. That's a cool name too. It's, I got a boot, right?
Yeah,
it's got sort of that
Bootjack.design. Check it out. Yeah,
I love it. All right. So he hired you, and now he is seeing some inbound stuff happening for him, right? So he's actually seeing his business grow, and it's attributable to the work that he did with you. Fantastic. What more could we ask for, right?
Yep. He got an ROI off his one social post. So there you go.
There you go. What the heck, right? Perfect. All right. So I want to hire you. So how do I do that? What's the process, and what's your availability look like?
Well, you can message me on LinkedIn because I'm always there. In fact, I'm a better LinkedIn DMer than I am an emailer. So there's this funny meme that's like, I have 2 speeds of reply, 49 seconds and 5 days. That's me. If you don't catch me right when it's your email, it goes into my inbox forever. It gets lost. So DM is good. And just let me, or you can go to my website. It's pidgergrowth.com. It's literally just a form filled. It's like, need to grow, fill out this form. So you can tell me what's wrong and why you're not growing and what you need help with. And then we'll figure out how to work together.
All right. And then do I need to commit for a super long period of time, or is it like campaign basis, or how does that work?
My minimum contract is 90 days if I'm doing like full strategy retainer. So I have like 3 modes. I have DIFY, do it for you. That's strategy. That's on retainer. That's 90 days at least.
Okay.
If you just want coaching, like if you just have a particular need, like right now of the moment, and you want to resolve it in like 1 to 5 sessions, like I have a per session rate for that. So that's more the DIY mode of working. And then the other thing I do is matchmaking. So if you're like a small business, you're like, help, I need a blank. I need a web developer, strategist, copywriter, designer, et cetera, et cetera. I actually
Right.
literally have a form on my LinkedIn. It says it's called Help I Need-a. So fill out Help I Need-a. You have to tell me your budget though. I will not match you without the disclosure of budget. That's the number one thing. No budget, no pitch. So tell me your budget, be honest. And I have people who can design a website for $1,000 and I have people who can design it for $1 million. So I'll find you somebody, but you got to tell me your budget. So
okay. So 3 main offers. And so it's do it for you, DIY, which would be kind of a quicker deal, and then matchmaking. Perfect. All right. So it sounds like you kind of got this whole thing going, and you've been in business now for a year.
Year and a half. Yep.
Year and a half. Okay. So year and a half. And now you're starting to see some repeat clients kind of come back and it's starting to click, I hope, right?
It is. Yeah. I see some of my clients in the feed. What's up, Pete? Yep.
Yeah,
Pete and I just went to a trade show together. It was dope. It was great.
Perfect. Okay. So we are at 4 o'clock and it is time. It is time because I have made a commitment to all of the people who are in the house today that we would stop now. Right. And so we're going to go 1 minute over because I do need a tip from you to wrap this up. So I'm going to say, are you ready? And you're going to say, yes, I am. I'm going to say, let's go. You're going to give me the tip. And then I'm going to say, we're going to take that to the bank. And then we're going to be done. Okay.
All right.
So with that, Nora, are you ready?
Yes. Ready.
Well, all right, let's go.
Conversation, not presentation.
Okay. Can you?
Anytime you're pitching, you're going to be nervous if you're trying to pitch like, oh, I'm like going to this networking event and I got to like get my pitch right. No. Your whole job of going to a networking event is make one friend. And you will make that friend by having a conversation with them, not presenting your pitch to them. So, okay, when you're pitching somebody, you have to get through 3 phases: know, like, and trust. You cannot do that in one day. It's impossible. You cannot get people to write you a check in one day. So just focus on the know and just focus on having a conversation and making a friend.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. We're going to take that to the bank. All right, Nora. So I'm going to say thank you so much for coming out. I know that it is 7 o'clock in Pennsylvania, so I'm going to let you get back to those kiddos of yours. And I'm just going to say, like, man, this is awesome. You're such a great guest. Good luck out here as your business continues to grow and thrive. I can see you have got a cheering squad out here. So
my people, thank you.
Your people showed up. I love it. It's so great. All right, awesome. And yeah, so I've learned a few things about how to run this show today from you, Nora. So thank you very much. Free lesson for Trevor. All right. With that, we're going to say goodbye and thank you. And again, don't forget to support Karen Rojas's job search because she is on the hunt. So with that, thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Bye.
Bye.